These long dog days of summer, I mean, we just made it through a heat wave. Mama was parched through this heat wave. I was hitting up Dunkin' every single day, and I will continue to probably for the rest of my days, but especially this summer. Dunkin' is helping everyone stay cool this summer with its lineup of refreshers. These drinks are packed with bold, fruity flavors and served ice cold. It's amazing. Dunkin' refreshers are the perfect afternoon pick-me-up. I like to start my morning with them personally, and then sometimes I go back for a second one because I'm just feeling crazy. They come in a variety of delicious flavors, including fan favorites mango pineapple and strawberry dragon fruit. And then for a limited time, there's black cherry and there's pink pineapple. I'm going to tell you something right now, and it's a bold claim, let me tell you, but I stand behind it. Pink pineapple will change your life. It is so good. It has me feeling like I'm sitting in a pool, resort side, just living, honey. It's so yummy. Try your favorite flavor with green tea, sparkling water, lemonade, or Dunkin's all-new limeade. I haven't tried the limeade yet, but I'm going to. Usually I get my drinks made with green tea and occasionally lemonade, but I do really like the green tea. Or if you don't want to build your own, try one of Dunkin's curated refreshers like the Cherry Lime Ricky or the Ultimate Pink Daydream. The Cherry Lime Ricky, scrumptious. I could drink like 3 of these a day. They're so freaking yummy. Head to Dunkin' today and find your favorite refresher. Dunkin' refreshers contain less than 1% fruit juice. Limited time offer. Chilling crime cases are mysterious, but finding coverage shouldn't be. With the State Farm Personal Price Plan, you have options and can personalize your plan to help create an affordable price so you can get back to cracking all of life's bigger cases. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can choose to bundle and save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Head to statefarm.com to get a quote. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
This episode is brought to you by SoFi, the all-in-one finance app where you can bank, borrow, and invest. It's time to achieve your financial ambitions. Earn more on your savings with a SoFi Bank high-yield savings account. Ditch your high-interest credit card debt with a SoFi personal loan. Or start investing on an easy-to-use platform with SoFi Invest. Wherever you are on your financial journey, SoFi's got you covered. Learn more at SoFi.com/SXM.
Hey, weirdos. I'm Alaina.
I'm Ash.
And this is Morbid. Hi.
Or as Alaska says, hi.
Exactly as Alaska says.
You know?
So we're going to be doing another 2-parter. And this one is connected to the Hillside Stranglers case, like I told you.
Told you so.
Now, we're going to be covering the Sunset Strip killers today. Doug Clark and Carol Bundy, and we're going to be talking about Veronica Compton, like I had told everybody in Hillside Stranglers, but that's going to be in part 2. Oh. She comes in the second half. But we do mention the Hillside Stranglers in this one, so it's a nice little,
You surprised me because I thought this was all just Veronica Compton, so now it's like a 3-for-1.
Oh, yeah. We're getting full case here.
Damn.
Because this case is just too wild not to completely cover. There's no way I could just
mention
skim over this and be yeah, Doug Clark, he was wild. It's just, this is too much.
Oh, I'm excited.
But yeah, and we're going to mention the Hillside Stranglers again, so it feels like a nice full circle moment. These 2 cases kind of hold hands a little bit, so
I'm here for that.
Strange.
Well, before we get into that, we've been like, oh my gosh, there's no news. There's no, what's happening?
What's going on?
Guys, there's news.
Yeah.
Did you hear about, and it happened on August 17th, that family that just was found dead in the Sierra National Forest?
That case is crazy to me.
And they've had autopsies done and everything. It shows no signs of trauma. It was a mom, a dad, a 1-year-old baby, and their dog.
I know.
All of them were found dead on the hiking trails.
And there's like no signs of outward trauma.
No signs of outward trauma, no signs of inward trauma. Like the autopsies have come back and they're like, we're straight up stumped.
Wow.
There was like an algae warning in the area.
Oh, like toxic.
Like toxic algae in the area. So I guess like,
that's terrifying.
I mean, that could do it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and we don't know, I don't think we know enough about that stuff. So it's like, that could easily be hidden. Can you imagine if it's toxic algae? I almost said allergy.
Can you imagine if it's toxic allergies?
Like toxic algae?
No, not at all.
Who thinks of that? Like you would never think of that.
Well, that's the thing. And then one of the other creepy things was that they were found like near this area called Devil Gulch.
Devil's Gulch?
Just Devil Gulch.
Devil Gulch?
Yeah, which I was like, ooh, that just like adds to the creepiness of it all. And obviously like that doesn't mean anything or anything like that.
But it's just like ominous as fuck.
It's ominous because like it doesn't seem like there's any apparent cause of death.
No.
Like all of them just dropped dead and then they're near like Devil Gulch.
Yeah, and from what you were reading to me earlier, they were like super devoted to their 1-year-old. Like they were like loved being paired. It just like sounds like such a sad.
They were like super well liked. The father was like a software
right?
engineer. They had like traveled a ton. Like they were experienced hikers. Just like very strange.
See, I can't.
Algae.
Fucking
I mean,
algae.
if that's even what it is.
I was gonna say if that's
But
it.
then it's like, what else would it be?
Yeah, because either way, it's like, do I want it to be toxic algae? No.
But do I want it to be anything else? No.
I don't want it to be anything else either. Right. I don't know.
And
that's weird
just
one.
so sad. Like you think you're going out for, we're in the middle of a
Wonderful
panoramic,
family time,
trying to do something nice with your family, trying to get outdoors, and then you just your entire family never comes home.
No, that's wild.
And I can't imagine like their extended family members,
like,
what they're going through right now.
I'm dying to know, like, if anything comes out of this, if there's any updates, or I hope they get some kind of closure.
They're continuing to like investigate the area, but there were like signs posted, I guess, that were like, don't let pets swim in the water, drink from the water,
like eat the scum on the side of the
scum. Yeah.
Ugh.
Don't let your dog eat the scum ever.
Don't do it. But that's really sad, and hopefully we get an update somehow.
I know.
But now we're going to talk about something equally as sad.
All right.
We're going to talk about the Sunset Strip Killers.
Okay.
So I don't usually do a blanket trigger warning for an entire episode, but I feel like this one kind of deserves one. It just has a lot of little things that could really upset some people. So I just want to let you know that this episode has rape in it, a lot of that. It also has mention of incest. It has mention of pedophilia. It's just an all-around tough one, this one. It's dark from start to finish. So I just wanted to let you guys know, just so you're prepared.
I don't know anything about them.
This is another case where they, I think, got caught up in the late 70s, early 80s in California, like serial killer bonanza. And so they just like got kind of ignored. Like I think the Hillside Stranglers got noticed a little bit, but like Richard Ramirez really took with all his antics. I think he took the cake.
Yeah.
So a lot of these got kind of pushed off, and a lot of people don't know about them. But like when you read into them, you're like, how though?
Like, how do I not know?
How do I not know about this? I have heard of them. I've like read books about them and stuff. So when I heard the name Doug Clark, I was like, wait, why does that sound so familiar? And then I realized he's part of this set of killers. And when it was connected to Veronica Compton in the Hillside Strangler case, I was like, whoa, why are these worlds colliding? And she also like really attached to two pretty similar, like two sets of serial killers. She attached herself to one of each of them, which is weird. Yeah. But we'll get into Veronica in part 2.
Okay.
So, like I said, they're known as the Sunset Strip Killers, the Sunset Strip Murderers, and their names are Doug Clark and Carol Bundy, no relation to Ted Bundy, although she had a big obsession with Ted Bundy.
Okay.
So, but that was her real name. Like, she didn't...
I was going to say,
she didn't change it. It's a married name, though. So she did.
Did she like
keep
seek it
around?
out?
I wonder. I do wonder. But I don't know. I found nothing that said that she did.
She's like looking in the classifieds.
She often now, as we'll see in part 2, especially, she tried to claim that she was like a helpless victim in this whole thing.
Oh
that
yeah,
she
always
had nothing to do with
just
anything.
like Carla Homolka.
Yeah, absolutely. And she confesses. She testified against. She was a part of the whole thing. But I just want to open this with a quote from her. from later so that you can have that in mind as we go through. I don't know if you guys have ever in your life shot anybody, but it's really fun to do. It sounds terrible, but it is.
Yeah, she sounds like she was really just a helpless gal.
So she wasn't exactly just floating along.
Woe is me.
Now, Doug Clark is a horrific monster of epic proportions.
Oh, good.
But she's right there with him.
I mean, yeah, clearly.
So we're going to start with June 12th, 1980 at 1:30 p.m.
Okay. Gemini season.
There you go. The bodies of 16-year-old Cynthia Chandler and 15-year-old Gina Morano were found murdered on a highway ramp by a highway worker. This was in California, by the way, that this happened. And this highway worker had just stumbled upon the bodies. He was doing cleanup. He was clearing some debris, just kind of like clearing up the area.
It's like in the Hillside Stranglers.
Exactly. It's a lot of similarities. And he found Gina face down and Cynthia was nearby her, laying on the ground. Now, at first glance, when police showed up, they were sure that at first they were like, oh my God, this is just like the Hillside Stranglers.
Yeah.
Like dumped in the same way, both basically nude. I mean, it looked the same. They were like, this is Angelo Buono and Kenneth Bianchi, except the two of them had been in jail since January 1979, so a year earlier. So they were like, who the hell did this? Because this had just happened, obviously, within, I believe, 12 hours
of
them finding them. So they were like, okay, if this isn't them, who the fuck is this?
And I wonder if they thought it was some kind of like copycat
like a copycat thing. So closer inspection, investigators saw that Cynthia Chandler was wearing a pink jumpsuit that had been pulled down and had a large intentional slit in the crotch area to expose her. There was blood spattered and soaking the jumpsuit. There was also a spot of what appeared to be motor oil that they like really concentrated on in all of the reports about this.
Okay.
We find out later that does kind of connect. But Gina Morano had only a red tube top on, and it had been pulled down to her waist.
Oh, come on.
They were also half-sisters who were extremely close. Yes.
That's so sad.
Yep. Now, their autopsies showed that they had been dead for at least 12 hours. Gina Morano had 2 gunshot wounds to the head. Cynthia Chandler was shot twice, once in the head and once to the chest.
Whoa.
The chest wound was so close that there was a burn pattern around the entry wound, so meaning the gun was likely pressed against her chest when shot.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
I've never even
Exactly. Now, Gina's shots had gone direct, out of her head. They had exited, but they were able to get the bullets from Cynthia Chandler's wounds, and they were .25 caliber bullets for all of these wounds. There was no blood pooling or scrapes on the bodies, so that kind of showed that they were obviously killed elsewhere and put here because they weren't bleeding actively when they were on the street,
which is strange.
Yeah. So lividity on Cynthia Chandler also proved that she had clearly been lying somewhere else and brought there.
Okay.
So they did have definitive evidence that Cynthia Chandler was raped. Gina Morano, they weren't positive, but they were kind of just going off of the scene, and they were like, I think something happened here, but it's hard to tell. They were also very quick to say it's hard to tell if somebody was raped after death. So...
Right.
As we find out in this case, that is something that Doug Clark does.
Strange because, again, Hillside Strangler-esque.
Exactly.
And Bundy-esque.
At first, they were Jane Does. Only briefly, though, because they had no identification on them at the time. But their parents were looking for them. They were runaways several times during their lives. It wasn't like they were getting out because they were having a bad life or anything. They were just... They wanted to see what they want. They wanted to get out into the world and have fun. So they would run away, get in kind of some trouble. Their parents would rein them in, and then it would happen again.
Okay.
Now, so at the time of the murders, they had been missing for a brief period of time. But their parents figured it was just another time when they ran away and would come back.
Okay.
It's basically the 70s. It's 80.
Well, and it's they probably know that they're not even going to be able to call the police and say,
You know that feeling when you come home late from work and those puppy dog eyes just pierce right through your soul? Or when you're packing for a trip and your cat refuses to leave your suitcase? Yeah, we've all been there. Pet parent guilt is real. And you know what? It's completely normal. That's exactly why Hill's Pet Nutrition exists. They understand that being a pet parent means being human, with all of our imperfections and daily juggling acts. Hill's science-led nutrition helps you give more love than humanly possible. Whether it's those long work days or trying to balance attention between multiple pets, Hill's Pet Nutrition gets it. They've created science-based nutrition that supports your pet's lifelong health so you can feel confident even when life gets hectic. Because you're only human, there's Hills. Science does more. Ready to let go of the guilt? Find the right food at hillspet.com/podcast. That's hillspet.com/podcast. This is a paid ad by BetterHelp. I happen to be somebody that struggles with people pleasing. So a lot of times I will build things up and up and up and up and up and then kind of get to the point where I'm like, I need to let this out to this person. Even in 2026, that stigma and just stigma in general can get in the way of a lot of things, like getting support for your mental health. Maybe you've encouraged friends to consider therapy while avoiding taking that first step yourself because you're busy. You're worried about what other people might think, or telling yourself that you should handle this all alone. But therapy with BetterHelp, the world's largest online therapy platform, can be a space to slow down and talk through what's been building before it feels unmanageable. Just take a short questionnaire to identify your needs and preferences, and BetterHelp will handle the initial therapist matching work for you. Their industry-leading match rate means BetterHelp typically gets it right the first time. Feel confident knowing BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully qualified. Don't let hesitation hold you back. Find support with BetterHelp. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/morbid. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/morbid.
Hey, they ran away because they're just going to say, don't they do that?
Yeah. And they had actually hitchhiked to LA together this time. Okay. So, and this was when they were hitchhiking to LA to start a new life together.
Like so they were not coming back.
They were not planning on coming back. So police didn't have a ton of information about them yet, but once the families were contacted, you know, they talked to Gina's father. He was like so distraught. He was the one who came to identify them. They were able to identify them. And Gina's father said they hadn't spoken in about a week, but he was like, I was worried, but I figured she would come around. It has happened, and he said, he was like, hey, did you guys find a little red address book? And he said, because Gina kept it with her at all times.
Yeah.
She had every address she ever knew in that book. She never was anywhere without it. And police said, no, they never found it at the scene. They never found that notebook.
Oh, that's really sad because obviously it was like important to her father.
Exactly. And what we'll see is that Doug Clark definitely had that notebook. Yeah, he uses it later. So after they were identified, some strange things started happening. They were like, usually when this kind of thing happens, they have to go around and find people to talk to.
Right.
And
they have to investigate.
Yeah. They got a call out of the blue from a 19-year-old woman named Mindy Cohen. She had contacted investigators and said, I met those two girls a few days before their deaths. Like, they had just arrived. I was with them. And Mindy was dating a 37-year-old guy named Mark Gottsman. He was like a very rich lawyer type.
Okay.
He was like super Hollywood. He had like a big mansion in Beverly Hills, and he was infamous for throwing insane ragers at his Beverly Hills mansion.
Why don't I know this man?
And he would have hundreds of people there, and he had a habit and like a thing that he would do where he would send his driver, like his chauffeur, into the city to pick up attractive ladies to bring back to the party.
All right.
And on the night of June 1st, 1980, his driver brought back Gina Morano and Cynthia Chandler. Mindy started chatting with them immediately. She said she really liked them. They just like hit it off. And she was like, I kind of like, I felt bad for them because they seemed very naive and like, wide-eyed, and like I knew that like this town is gonna like really take me down a notch.
Yeah.
But she said I also like admired them because they were just like striking out on their own at such a young age.
Yeah.
And they had told her, we're in LA, we're gonna start a new life. They were working at like a Taco Bell. They just gotten jobs. That night, Mindy gave them her information, her name, her number, her address, and said, if you ever need anything, you call me. Like, I've been here.
Mindy.
Like, I want to help you guys out.
This sounds like a fucking movie.
Right? And she was very upset after she heard what happened to them. So she's like, I had to call you, the police. Like,
what a good person.
I didn't know what to do. So she said, I wanted to give you some information, anything that I could help you with to what they were doing prior to their deaths. And also because she was like, I'm a little scared something could happen to me. She wrote down my information.
Yeah. And now you don't know where that book is.
And she didn't know that, but she was like,
she has my information.
She has my information. And she said, here's why I'm scared. she said she got a phone call, Mindy. Mm-hmm. She said, I got a phone call the day before. And it was by someone the day before she called the police, so after they were killed. And she said it was by someone who was claiming to be an LAPD detective. But she immediately suspected he was a bullshitter. She was like, I don't know why, he just didn't sound right.
Mindy can sniff him out.
Mindy's got it. But he said he was investigating the deaths of Gina Morano and Cynthia Chandler. Okay. And he said he knew she was an acquaintance of theirs. And she was like, oh. And he mentioned they had her phone number.
Uh-huh.
And she said, I have an address book here, and it has your phone number in it.
Oh, I just got like actual goosebumps because it's like, yeah, I know where you live, and I know that you knew them.
Yep. And he said it was in a little red address book that he had it.
Wow.
And he said, can I come to your home and ask you a few questions? And she said, no. And she said, not thinking, because at first she said, when he said, I have the address book, I just want to speak to you because you're an acquaintance, I thought, of course, like, I want to help out. And she said, duh. And she said this afterwards. She was like, afterwards, I couldn't believe I had said it. But she said, no, you can't come over because I'm babysitting my little sisters. I'm home alone.
Oh, God.
Like, my parents aren't here.
Yeah.
And she said, I said it thinking I'm talking to a police detective, but I should have. She's like, I just didn't even think of it.
Right.
And she said, but I'll answer questions on the phone.
Yeah.
Which, like, smart girl saying, like, no, you can't come over.
But don't say you're home alone, guys.
I know. But, she took, and she said it. She was like, just like, I thought
sometimes it slips
I didn't
out.
even think of it because I was talking to a detective. It just didn't even. She's like, even if I was like a little like, I don't know if you're a detective. She's like, when he brought up the address book and
well, he sounds like he
sounded legit. And she's
right.
like, and it just came out. So she said, he asked her some standard questions, like, when did you last see them? All this stuff. So she was feeling like pretty confident that he was a detective. She was like, okay, nothing weird. Mm-hmm. But then he said, did you know that they were sex workers? Which they weren't. Right. Not that it really matters, but like they weren't.
It's a weird question.
And she said she didn't think they were because she was like, they never mentioned that to me. Like,
yeah, she said they mentioned that they were like,
yeah, she was like, they just didn't mention that to me. But she said, I definitely don't know that. Like maybe they just didn't want to mention it to me. And he said, well, I know for a fact they were. And she's like, okay. And she literally was like, okay.
Any more questions, dude? Like,
but she was like, what? And she was like, he was very adamant to be like, just so you're aware, they were sex workers. Basically being like, not a big deal. Like, calm down. They were sex workers.
Right.
Like, don't get all in a tizzy. And she was like, I don't understand why
that's like so poignant here.
And she said this is when she started freaking out because she was like, this is not a real cop.
That's so...
Because she was like, I just don't think so.
It's just so weird that he even did that.
Oh, he does a lot of weird shit. So she called her boyfriend, the lawyer, and she said, she was like, this is weird. I don't think that was a cop. And together they called the LAPD and were like, hey, did someone call from there? And they confirmed, no one called from here.
What the fuck?
And but then they were like, oh, it was just a prank, like somebody fucking around. And she's like, well, they had my number and my name. Like, what? And the LAPD was like, eh.
And she said, like, he had, like, a little address book. And at this point, like, they know that they're looking for a little address book. Like,
nope. And also,
LAPD.
there's a handful of serial killers going around at this time. Like, I don't know, guys.
Let's look into things.
Maybe take things seriously. No,
we're busy that day.
So the police hang up with her, and they're like, I don't know. They get another call from another woman. This woman's name is Lori Briggs. And she had a similar call from a so-called LAPD detective.
Okay.
This LAPD detective referred to himself as Detective Clark.
Okay. Love that he didn't,
like,
make an alias.
You're really just not even going to try?
Can you like, use your middle name, like middle initial?
Yeah.
Like, you don't even really have to say your name. You can just say, I'm an LAPD detective.
But you can tell that's how much of a dick he was, that he was doing it right in the open, and he was like, no one's going to catch me.
Well, he's like a narcissist.
Yeah, he's like, no one's going to catch me. It's fine.
Right.
So he said, I'm working the Chandler Morano case. And this time, this detective said that Lori's husband, Henry, his business card was found on the bodies.
See, I have like a feeling that probably not. And probably that her address or phone number was just an LL book.
You would be incorrect.
Oh, bitch. Okay.
So
fine.
So it makes sense why you would think that. Now, they said he wasn't a suspect, Henry, the husband. And they said they just needed to know more from him, obviously. And she said, like, okay. And she was like, that's, oh, wow.
We'll tell you more.
On? And what it was is Henry owned like a moving business. So he had business cards. But she was like, while I talked to this Detective Clark guy, he became less and less police-like in the conversation. Like he just started...
like Joe Schmo in it.
Yeah. And she said, and at one point, he mentioned that the victims were sex workers. And he said they were, quote, doing what they shouldn't.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, she was like, okay, that's strange. Like for a detective to mention to a random person on the phone. Like she was like, I didn't know these people. I didn't interact with them. So like, I don't know why you're telling me this. So she was like, okay. So she was like, I'll get my husband and he'll contact you. So she asked her husband and he was like, about this. She was like, why was your card found? And he was like, oh yeah. And he was like, I saw that on the news that they were found dead. And he said, yeah, they probably did have my card. And he said, I saw these two girls hitchhiking on June 10th. And he said he and his brother-in-law, who also worked with him in the business, picked them up. And he said the one that was blonde, which was Cynthia, she said her name was Cindy, and the other one had brown hair, which was Gina. And he said before I brought them to the like entrance of the freeway, that's where they wanted to get out. And he said, I gave them my business card and said, if you ever need help, please call. Because he said they were so young and I was like worried for them.
Oh, what a good guy.
So it seems like multiple people have been like, I
looking
just was worried
too,
about them.
yeah.
Like they had all these like, you know, angel people that were like trying to help them. And then they ran into the most evil
That makes me
people
so
ever.
sad.
Which is like really sad.
I feel like that's just like California in a nutshell.
Yeah, like these angels.
Like
and
there's
then,
so
like,
many
these
great
demons.
people, and then there's like also
Yeah.
people out there that just want to fucking eat your heart out of your chest cavity.
Well, and it's like this sounds almost too good to be true. You're like, I don't know, like you know what I mean. Like I think
Yeah.
true crime brains are like, what, Henry? I don't
Yeah.
know. But Henry called the police himself, like the actual LAPD.
I had a feeling about him. I just trusted
Just
him.
Henry,
Henry's
you know?
also my favorite boy name.
There you
so.
go. So he called the LAPD and he was like, listen, I just wanted to call and say that, you know, like, here's my name. My name is Henry Briggs. I own this company. On June 10th, I picked up these two girls that I know have been found murdered. Can I tell you like my story about what happened here? And they were like, yeah, totally. Like, we'll write this down. And then they were like, no one from here called your wife.
Right.
And they were like, I don't know what you're talking. He was like, no, Detective
did.
Clark called my wife and asked about this because he said that was found on their bodies.
Were they like, we don't even have a Detective Clark?
And they were literally like, yeah, we also didn't find your card on their bodies. So like, we are not,
What?
that's not us. And he was like, wow, okay. So someone called my wife and someone who had my card that was found on them. Like that was the killer, obviously. And they were like, no, it's probably a prank. Bye.
So at this point, they're not even putting two and two together that this dude is out here calling
The
multiple
LAPD
different
in the
people.
80s and 70s, everyone. I don't even know what to do. So, yeah,
And
so that
90s.
was that. July 24th, 1980, Mindy Cohen, our first girl, gets another phone call.
Oh, I don't like this.
This time it was around 7 a.m. and the caller was a man who she said had the same voice as the detective who called her before. And she said, I guess this person asked, is this Mindy? And she was like, yes, who is this?
This is she.
And he then asked, do you remember me calling you a couple weeks ago? And he said about the murders of Cynthia Chandler and Gina Morano. And she said, yes. And he said, well, I killed them and now I want you.
Oh my God.
He then went into great detail about the murders of the two sisters and revealed that he shot Gina in the head, but had to shoot Cynthia in the head and the heart.
Oh my God.
So we know we are talking about to the killer, not somebody fucking around, because that was not released to the press.
And then
it was
she's
released
sitting
that they
here?
were shot. It was not released that one of them was shot twice in the head and one was shot in the head and the heart.
That is number one, so fucking terrifying. And then she's sitting there saying, oh, good, this person knows where I live. And like, I would be sitting there like, did they drive by? Like,
Yeah.
while I was home alone babysitting my sisters? Like,
Exactly.
are they outside right now?
Are they outside?
Like,
Are they about to walk into the
I'd
house?
immediately, like, hopefully she had the means to buy a plane ticket and get the fuck out
Yeah,
of there.
seriously. Like, I'd be like, what the fuck? Well, and then he went into more detail kill. And he said, well, remember, they were sex workers, because he really wants to hammer that in, like, you need to stop worrying about this because they were sex workers, because that's what he saw sex workers as,
right,
like,
of course.
less than.
Yup, because he's a fucking asshole.
Because he's an asshole. And he said he had paid them $30 for oral sex. And he said, I only wanted the blonde one, which was Cynthia. And he said, I shot them while they did it. He then said, I shot them and then I made love to them. And it felt so good. Now I want you, Mindy. You're next.
What the fuck?
She also said while he was telling the story on the phone and she was trying to figure out what the fuck to do, because she was like, I didn't want to hang up because I was like, do I run somewhere with this phone? Like, what do I do?
Where do I go?
Do I scream? Do I go outside and he's right there? I don't know.
When you're probably just like paralyzed with
She
fear.
said she was just paralyzed, but she said she suddenly realized that he was clearly masturbating on the phone while telling the story.
What the actual fuck,
So
dude?
she hung up and she called her father, who called the police. And she said that she believed during this conversation that he had mentioned that his name was Doug.
Okay. I love that he's just like, my full last name is
Detective
Doug Clark.
And obviously this was Doug Clark, we found out later. Now, let's talk about Doug Clark.
Do we have to?
Let's talk about him. He was born on March 10th, 1948 in Pennsylvania. He was the son of Franklin Clark and Blanche Clark. His father was a naval intelligence officer, and he was the third child of 4 children.
I also think he's a Pisces, but let's check to see
But
if
let's
I'm
figure
right,
it out.
because
I
that's
hope you're
everybody's
not.
new segment.
I hope you're not.
I'm getting better at it. I say
I
that, but I'll be wrong.
I don't want you to get better at it just because I love it.
Honestly, it might be not true, but
I really
March
just don't want you
10th,
to get better at it.
sign. I want to get better at it.
John is an Aries, so
I was right.
you were okay. There you go. You were right. Well,
Fun fact,
I don't know
Mama
what that
doesn't
means.
really loves a Pisces.
What are Pisces?
Highly emotional.
Oh wow!
I don't want to offend anybody.
That's strange for Doug Clark, but sure. So his family moved around a ton because his dad was in the Navy.
Sure.
They actually lived in 37 different countries.
Oh wow.
He was also a pathological liar and a very intense manipulator from a very early age.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. As a teen, he was also a heavy drinker. He would also, he was caught at one point as a teenager filming girls he hooked up with and then showing the photos to everyone in school.
Oh yeah, just normal teen things.
Yeah. So
Teen
when
life.
girls his own age like wouldn't touch him after a while with a 10-foot pole because they were like, he's crazy.
Right.
So he decided to go after older women. And that's when
And
he
do the same
realized,
thing.
well, that's when he realized that older women, if he could find the right ones, older, lonely women he described, that's him, not me saying it, he could manipulate them for his own gain. Because they were looking for companionship and love and somebody, so he could really fuck with this. So he would charm them into paying for everything for him. And then when he got bored or she ran out of money, he would just abandon her.
He would charm them because Pisces are excessively romantic.
There you go. So he would do that.
I have to say, one of our listeners, Crystal, actually, she did my
love
whole
her.
entire birth chart, and then she went forward and sent me like a zodiac, like a list of the zodiac with all the qualities of each zodiac sign. So Pisces are excessively romantic, prone to fantasy, don't have boundaries, both 5 and 50 years old at once, think everything is a sign, and can't remember if they dreamt it or if it actually happened.
Wow. All right.
So
Some of
those
those make sense for Doug Clark.
Probably the no boundaries.
Yeah, I would say the no boundaries and excessive fantasies is also
Yeah.
his definite thing.
I'm also like, before anybody gets mad at me about like not liking Pisces, my mom is a Pisces, so
So there you go. There you go.
But back to Doug.
Back to Doug though, because he's everybody. There's a bad sign. There's a bad person for every sign.
Exactly.
There's a group of bad people
course.
for every sign. Trust me, I'm a Capricorn. There's a lot of bad Capricorns.
Horrible Capricorns.
But
I love Capricorns.
But yeah, so he would often charm these women. He would gain their trust, gain their companionship, make them pay for everything, and then he would get bored and just abandon them and like just
I want to
ruin
know
them.
like where he was meeting these ladies.
Oh, at tons of bars, like bars around California, around Pennsylvania. Anywhere he could find them, he was finding them.
Okay.
And although he was pretty shitty in school, he went to he went to the International School of Geneva, Switzerland.
Because his dad was.
Exactly. He went to the Culver Military Academy and he graduated in 1967. He then joined the Air Force. He worked in radio intelligence. He told a ton of tall tales while he was there about being, or when he came back, excuse me. He would tell people that he was on the front lines just to impress people.
Yeah.
Just like, you were in the military. Like,
It's
you could
already
just
impressive.
Like, you were an Air Force, like, radio intelligence officer.
Yeah, that's very impressive.
You don't need to, like, make shit up.
You were in the Air Force. Like, just the fact that you want to do that alone, very impressive.
Like,
Thank you.
impressive.
You don't need to go further.
You don't need to go further.
And don't lie about things, because
But-
then that discredits people that do that.
So he was discharged from the military, and he began working like a lot of different jobs, like a mechanic for a while. During this whole time, and ever since he was a teen, really, he considered himself like a sexual god, like a force to be reckoned
An Adonis.
with. He called himself the king of the one night stand,
That's just like yucky.
which is like okay.
Yeah, like
Wow, that's so impressive. Like, wow, okay. You just, I don't, like, okay. Like, what am I
honestly,
supposed to do with that?
You could look at that from both sides, because
Yeah.
you could be like, okay, like maybe you have commitment issues.
Yeah, like, I'd be like, that's sad for you,
Or
I
I'd be
guess.
like-
or look at it the other side and be like, okay.
I'd be like, so no one wants to sleep with you again?
Yeah.
Like
I don't,
It's not really like a
so
good
everybody's
title.
just like one and done with you and are like, that was fun, see you never.
like what?
Or it's like, or
Adobe Firefly is the all-in-one creative studio with AI-powered image and video editing for today's creative process. Built for creators of every kind, Firefly helps you generate, edit, and experiment fast. Because the asks aren't getting smaller, the budgets aren't getting bigger, and the timelines, oh yeah, still tight. With all the best creative AI models in one place, Firefly brings your ideas to life. Unlock a better way to make with Adobe Firefly.
Hi, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. Are you looking for a beach read this summer? May I suggest your big wireless bill? It's got suspense, mystery, a slightly flat, emotional arc, and a shocking twist where you realize you've been overpaying the entire time. Fortunately, though, Mint's story is better. Every plan, $15 a month, even unlimited. That's it. Happy ending, zero tears. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
it's just not impressive. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Plenty of people have one night stands.
Yeah, like have you been in your early 20s?
Get it, I guess. Like, I don't understand. It's just
weird.
a very weird thing to like label yourself as.
It is.
But he did come off very articulate, very educated, even though he didn't like school and he wasn't doing well. He was good at knowing, and a lot of the things I read about him, which I read a couple of books. Let me shout out the books really quick. I read a book called...
I read a book.
I read a
book.
That is called Doug, Clark, and Carol Bundy, The Horrific True Story Behind the Sunset Strip Slayers. It's by Nancy A. Vesey and Ryan Decker. I also read...
A book. I read
another
a book.
book. Let me just bring it up for you because I like to make sure you know them ahead of time. Murder on the Sunset Strip. And it's a true crime quickie book. It's really easy to read. It's like
I would have added that
less
to my
than
cart
200.
yesterday.
Yeah.
We love the quickie. No
and this
pun
is by
intended.
Kim Creswell. Now, in these books, they did say that he knew a little bit about a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And he did this intentionally. Like, this was definitely a calculated thing. Like, if I know a little bit about a lot of different things, then I can make myself sound very worldly and very articulate and very educated. And, you know, I think we were saying, like you had mentioned before, like he lived in so many places.
Like, it's a good way to learn a little bit about everything.
You're going to be able to grab a bunch of little tidbits here and there. So he used it. He also had very dark fantasies.
Prone to fantasy, a
He's
Pisces.
very prone to fantasies, but very dark ones. He was into rape scenarios. He was very into pain, very into like extreme BDSM, and into necrophilia.
Not okay.
He moved to LA and he got a job as a steam plant operator at the LA Department of Water and Power at the Valley Generating Station. You know the one, right?
Yes.
Yep, that one.
Been there, done that.
He quit that out of nowhere because he
Sounds
can't
boring.
hold on to a job. He also then got a job as a boiler operator at Jergens Soap Factory in Burbank.
Sounds hot.
Yeah, probably. It sounds hot. And not like that's hot.
Not
it
sexy.
sounds like
Sounds
that's
like
temperature like
Yeah,
hot.
I was gonna say sounds steamy, and then that was like that only furthers the narrative.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't sound steamy or like that's hot. It sounds like, I need
Sounds
a
like
water.
I'm sweating.
Yeah,
and
like,
I don't like to
No,
sweat.
I don't want it. He was fired from that job because he just would not show up, and he also threatened violence against his coworkers on the reg.
See, usually that's in the handbook.
That'll do
to
it.
Not do
so he was a super heavy drinker as well. He went to bars all the time, obviously, to pick up
Picking up the
women.
lades.
In 1976, he met a woman named Beverly, and they ended up getting married like very quickly. Together, they actually opened up an upholstery business, and
Bitch,
it was
I love it.
right, and it was doing pretty well. And their marriage was like not an unhappy one, really.
Okay.
Although he liked to bring other people into it, like he
Was she like willing?
and like she wasn't like super into it, and I think that's why they ended up breaking up at one point.
But she was like somewhat.
But she was just like, "Ooh, I'll
like,
give it a try,"
right.
And he also just like refused to remain faithful. He was like, "I will not do monogamy," and she was like, "Ooh."
yeah, like why'd we get married?
But she said that didn't bother her so much. She's like, I didn't love it, but the thing that really bothered me about him was that he had no drive.
yeah, that'll
Like, he
bother
just-
a person.
He had like no drive to be anything more in life. She was like, I was taking up all the responsibility of the business, running the business, and
It's a
she's like,
lot.
and he just didn't seem like he wanted anything else, and I wasn't into it. I
Right.
needed somebody that was going to be as driven as I am. And I was
Right.
like, get it, Beverly.
yeah, hell yeah, Bev.
They divorced after 4 years, but they remained like best friends.
Weird.
Right? She testified later at his trial.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Against him?
Well, we'll get into it.
Okay.
But when he lost his last job in around 1980, he was desperate. He was like, I need to find an older, lonely woman. I've lost my wife. I don't have anyone paying for my shit and just letting me lounge around and do whatever I want. And he's like, I got to find someone to pay my way.
I love
'Cause
that he's
a
like,
scammer.
I don't want a job. I want a rich lady.
Yeah, I want a rich older lady. And this is when he met Carol Bundy
had a
in
feeling.
1980 at a bar he went to a ton called Little Nashville.
Okay. Sounds like great.
So here's Carol Bundy. Carol Bundy was born August 26th, 1942. She had a way worse life than Doug did. Both of her parents were alcoholics and were often violent while under the influence. Mm-hmm. Her mother and the kids at school were not kind to her. She struggled with her weight, and she had to wear very thick glasses from a young age. At one point, her mother, when she was 8 years old, her mother locked her out of the house when she got home from school and wouldn't let her come in and kept yelling, "You don't live here anymore. You're not my daughter." Yeah.
What the actual fuck? And she was how old?
She was 8. And
Oh, that like breaks my heart.
now I found a source that said that her mom from that day forward refused to call her daughter. Like just that was it. And then also that she had to like go get her father who was working like down the street to go like let her into the house.
Did her mom have like a mental
I couldn't find
break or
anything
something?
saying that, but there was definitely,
evidence
yeah,
of
there was
such?
something happening.
Okay.
She started acting out pretty early, and by 11 years old, she was shoplifting. She had also tried to kill herself several times by poisoning.
That's really sad.
This ends up continuing a little bit into adulthood. Her mother died young, and it was like a massive heart attack, I believe, and it kind of happened while the kids were in the house. It was like a big deal. The father
man.
rushed her out to the hospital. The
That's
kids
a
were
l-
just sitting there waiting, and he comes home and is like, hey, your mom
is
died.
dead.
Like,
That's a lot of childhood trauma in like a
very
short span of
concentrated
time.
exactly, like a concentrated span of time.
Right.
So when he came home, the same night he came home and said, your mother has died, he told her and her younger sister Vicky. So her younger sister Vicky was 11 and she was 13, and at the time that she had died, she said, you guys are gonna have to take over for your mother. And he said, in every way.
No.
He began raping them when they were 11 and 13. He did so on the first night that their mother died.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah. Yep. After her mother's death and after her father's attacks on her began on the regular, she would act out even more. She would run through the streets naked. She would literally like masturbate in front of homes and cars. Like
Because
she was
she's
clearly
just
just
going
traumatized
through it.
in every way possible.
You feel bad for younger her, and clearly this is a situation and such that she was created.
Oh, for sure. For sure she was created.
Absolutely created.
This is
That's
one of those
so
that you can
sad.
really look at as, nurture.
Yeah.
Like, for sure. I think Doug Clark he just is who he
I
is.
agree with you.
But I think she was definitely created.
And then it's like she's looking for some kind of validation. She finds this guy. So in a way, she's a victim. Absolutely.
For sure. But then
we all have free will.
Exactly. And at 17, she wanted to get away from her father. So she married a 56-year-old man named Leonard,
sweetie.
who was also an abusive alcoholic.
Of course.
Because the cycle continues. And he wouldn't get a job, told her, you know what, I don't want to get a job, so I'm just going to make you sell your body. Like, you just are going to become a sex worker to pay our bills. So she was not happy with that, that she was, like, being forced into this. So she did divorce him. She married again because she's looking for stability and comfort and somebody to help her. A man named Richard Guise. He was a porn writer who also really liked to write sci-fi stuff. And like shit she was into, like she was into sci-fi and all that.
Okay, that's a vibe.
And he actually tried to encourage her to write and pursue things she wanted to pursue. Like, he was actually very encouraging of her.
Okay, good.
Carol was able to actually sell some articles that she wrote at one point.
Wow, that's nice.
And I guess she like published and like illustrated her own, like just one edition of a like fan fiction, like a magazine thing.
Okay.
Which was like a big deal for her at the time.
Yeah, she accomplished something.
But she was also doing sex work on the side because she had just been conditioned into it at this point.
Of course. She's been taught since she was 13 years old that's what you do.
That's what exactly. So when she was 20, her dad died. He hung himself. And she felt guilty because she assumed he had killed himself because of what he had done to her. But she took on the guilt.
That's
because
it's just such a cycle.
So she's so traumatized by childhood that she's traumatized into taking on that guilt of what somebody else did.
Have a parent like that, that's like what happens.
Yeah, of
you
course.
take the guilt because
they don't.
Exactly.
And they never will.
And somebody has to.
Yeah. So Richard tried to maintain their relationship, her husband, and he actually paid for her to go to nursing school. She ended up going to nursing school.
Wow. He sounds like such a really like great guy.
Right? They ended up separating, but they stayed best friends too. Just
Interesting that happened.
Like Beverly and Doug.
On both sides.
And he actually continued to help her whenever he could. Now, so once she was single again and working in nursing, she was working at like a hospital. She met another healthcare worker named Richard Bundy. They started, there he is. They started dating and had 2 sons together. She was having a lot of health issues at this point related to, she was diabetic and it was getting worse and she was losing her eyesight more rapidly because of it. So he made it clear he was not going to be the sole caretaker if something happened to her.
Okay.
And if she went blind, he was like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm not going to be taking care of you and these kids. That's not what's happening.
Oh, my.
And he started abusing her and like raging at her. So she took her 2 sons finally and moved into a battered women's shelter in January 1979.
Wow.
Now, she started very soon after this, she started an affair with her apartment manager.
Okay.
This guy was named Jack Murray, and he was married to a woman named Jeanette. He was from Australia. He had 2 children with Jeanette. He was a part-time country singer.
Part-time.
Yep.
Okay.
And he was said to be a low-rate Tom Jones. Ladies loved him. Look him up.
Okay. I was like, that means nothing to me.
I don't know what that is. He was also, he had hundreds of affairs on Jeanette. He had 1 million women at any given time.
Oh, I know this guy.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
He was also a pathological liar, according to those who knew him, and he would greatly exaggerate his life story and experiences.
Oh, so she was just like getting ready for Dougie.
Yeah, she's got a type. He also had a police badge and would impersonate an LAPD officer sometimes to get girls to like come with him. Hillside Stranglers. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's real weird, man.
He managed the Valerio apartments, which is where she lived. But unfortunately, he was also a drinker. And when he drank, he became abusive and awful. He would beat his wife and even broke her arm once.
Ooh, ouch.
He also cheated on her relentlessly, like I said, with fans, especially of his country music, because he would go sing at especially Little Nashville, that bar.
I'm leaving.
And fans, he had like groupies and shit. He would also cheat on her with tenants in the apartment complex. And she knew this, but she was like, he was scary and I didn't want him to turn on my sons.
And to hurt me.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, it's like, Carol's putting herself in like such a position of like just like getting involved with the guy with the power, you know, like he rules where you live. But she's so that like that's her whole life. She's
conditioned of this. He had met Carol at the bar, Little Nashville, and she told him like the whole story of how she was looking for an apartment, and she was like, you know, I've been through all these marriages and I'm just like,
my health is ailing. I have children.
And he was like, oh, I can be the hero here. So he was like, I'm happy to move you into one of the apartments we have.
Yeah, okay,
and
Casanova.
He saw her as an easy target.
Of course. What a fucking asshole. Yeah. I hate all of the people in this story.
Yeah. So he helped her move in and eventually they began an affair. He made her sign up for disability at one point and then took her checks because he said she owed him for helping her.
Yeah, see, I knew he was going to do that.
And he said, and you owe me for even paying attention to you.
Yeah, you know, I usually pay money to people for paying attention to me.
Yeah, for sure. He even convinced her to open up a joint bank account and gave him full access.
Wow.
At one point, he told Carol that his wife was diagnosed with cancer and needed life-saving surgery, and she handed him $10,000, no questions asked.
Wow.
That was not true. During the holidays, she arranged a trip for the two of them to Vegas, and because she was like, just like delusional about they're in love, and maybe this will make him want to stay with me. And he went with her, but he literally had dinner with her and then abandoned her for the rest of the trip.
This is heartbreaking.
And only showed up back to fly home with her. And she was devastated when he dropped her off and just left. And all of a sudden there's a knock at the door and she's like, maybe he's apologizing. And at the door was Jeanette, his wife. And she said she knew what was going on.
Jeanette, let's not misplace anger here.
But she said, you need to leave my husband alone.
Yeah,
like you
fair.
Because you're both a part of this.
Yeah.
Like he's a piece of shit.
I just didn't know if she was going to hurt her.
Oh, no. She was just like, he's married with children. Like, you're as much an issue here. So she was like, you need to leave my fucking husband alone. Like, I'll deal with him. But like, you're getting
out of here.
And she was like, and so Carol was like, can I just ask you, like, did the surgery go well? Because like I gave him money for that. And she was like, I don't have cancer and I never had surgery. And then she was like, he definitely just took that money from you.
Wow.
And after she said,
Hi, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. Are you looking for a beach read this summer? May I suggest your big wireless bill? It's got suspense, mystery, a slightly flat, emotional arc, and a shocking twist where you realize you've been overpaying the entire time. Fortunately, though, Mint's story is better. Every plan, $15 a month. Even unlimited. That's it. Happy ending. Zero tears. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
that to her, Carol said, can I give you $1,500 to divorce him?
Why was she going to pay her? Because she still wants him?
Because she still wanted him. So she was like, can I pay you to divorce him? And she was like, no. And not only that, the fact that you just offered that, she made Jack kick her out of the apartment complex.
So she was
that's
like,
you're
scary
evicted.
at that point.
Scary.
Like, if someone said that to me, I'd be like, no, you can't live
like,
here.
this whole thing is fucked up. Like, the whole thing is fucked
Just
up.
like layers and layers.
Yeah,
it's a fucked up onion.
Fucked up on every level. But, like, as soon as somebody's like, can I pay you to divorce? Like, no.
Like, can I buy your husband
But
from
at the
you?
same time, it's like, kick him out, too. Like, everybody's got to get out.
And then at the same time, it's also like, that's what she's learned. That people are, like, bought.
Yeah, exactly. So,
oh God, this is like really terrible.
Know, it really is. So he kicked Carol out of the apartment.
Oh, okay.
But he moved her into another apartment farther away and still continued to have sex with her when he wanted to.
Of course he did, because he's a fucking jackass.
This apartment complex was also home. Now, I just want to give a little bit of a trigger warning here, because there is... I'm not going to go into anything like graphic or anything, so don't worry. But there's an 11-year-old that is involved in some of this stuff. Again, I'm not going to go into anything because I didn't really want to read about it, to be honest. But it is going to be mentioned. This apartment complex was where an 11-year-old girl, who I'm going to call Jessica, I don't. Her real name, I don't think is necessary.
No, it's not.
She was very troubled. She had been sexually assaulted by adults in her life before. She met Carol when Carol was moving in. They kind of bonded a little bit. And at first their relationship was like this weird friendship, and they did things like, watch movies together and all that. And I guess Jessica's mom was like, it was weird, but she seemed like she was happy and she was a nice lady. So I just didn't think anything of it. But it's pretty soon turned predatory, and Carol was like involving Jessica in like sexual things.
Okay.
She also introduced her to Jack and was basically hoping that if she offered this 11-year-old to him, that he would want her again. He was all about it, but Jessica was like, nope. And she said, I feel threatened by him. I don't want to be around him. And Carol was like, okay, you don't have to, which is like a weird. Yeah. So she became, and now this 11-year-old did meet Doug Clark later when they met too. And she liked Doug. Like she felt less like threatened by him.
I wonder if she was just
which
like,
is
he charmed
strange.
her somehow.
I think that's what it is. I think Jack just comes off more in your face as a piece of shit, and Doug is able to hide it a little bit. I think
he's got a mask.
So she's continuing to obsess over Jack at this point, and she would go to Little Nashville bar and watch him sing and hope that he would leave with her. And one of these nights is when she met Doug Clark. And he told her at that time that he had this horrible girlfriend and their relationship was crumbling. And he said his ex-girlfriend, like his girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, also happened to be his landlord. So he was like, I'm not going to have anywhere to live. She's kicking
like,
me
same.
out. And she's like, wow. So within days, he had moved in with Carol.
Oh, honey, no.
And the first night they met, she brought him home to like see the place. And he played with her kids and was like super sweet. And I guess the kids were like, we love Doug. Like, he's really cool.
Wow, I literally forgot that she had children living here this entire time.
2 sons.
Awesome.
I'm not exactly sure how old they were. There's like several different things. I think they are not mentioned a lot in things.
Yeah, so it's just
But she was very smitten at this point because obviously showing that he can like hang with her kids.
Yeah, and Jack clearly had no interest. And
exactly.
Their father didn't seem to care.
Nope, exactly. So they indulged in each other's violent fantasies together, but soon that was not enough for Doug. Like they would do like the BDSM thing,
But she's willing.
And he's like, you know what? So he sits her down and he's like, I have these fantasies. And like, she's like, I know, we've been doing it.
I just can't imagine.
Right?
Like, because we talk about this a lot where like these two people find each other and they sit down and one of them's like, so I have this fantasy. I just always picture, and it's, I can't even picture Drew sitting in front of me, but I just like picture like my partner sitting in front of me and saying like, I have these fantasies. And like, that's one thing. I'd be like, well, we can go to therapy.
Yeah.
But to say, and I'd like to act on them, like, how do you feel? I can't imagine being in that situation.
Right?
Like, it's actively giving me a panic attack.
I can see that.
Like, genuinely. Like, what the? Like, what do you do?
You just try to be like, yeah, okay, cool.
Because then you're scared because you're like, if I don't say,
is
like,
he gonna turn
that's
on me?
awesome,
Is
that gonna happen to me?
Yeah, it's a very scary thing.
It's getting hot in here.
I know, you're like
I'm
sweating.
I'm
you're like,
stressed.
Jesus.
Because I'm like, I don't know what it is. I can like put myself in situations very easily.
You're empathetic.
Yeah, I hate it.
That's what it is.
You're like, there's a word for that.
Yeah, empathy. That's what that is.
I hate it. Why do I have that?
You need to have more apathy instead of empathy.
I'm stressed.
But no, it's a good thing that you're that way.
Yeah. Anyways,
you are
carry
who
on.
you are because you're that way.
Carry on.
But yeah, he told her, he was like, I have some fantasies, which would be terrifying to hear.
Would be.
And he said, my fantasies are like abducting and sexually assaulting women.
No.
And she was like, okay. Like, I don't.
No.
And he said, I also have like this, I like kind of want to kill a woman. And then he was like, but like, he's like, kind of, not really, I don't know. And
Like,
then
what
he
do
was
you
like,
think?
I'm also kind of into like pedophilia. I'm also into rape. I also would like to inflict pain on strangers. All of that.
He's
And
like,
she
I'm
was
into
like-
literally every horrible thing you could do to another person.
And she
How do you
was
feel
like,
about
yeah,
that?
she was literally like, okay. And she at first was like, oh, okay. But then she quickly found this whole thing very exciting. She thought the whole thing was exciting.
Do you think that she at this point was just like, this is what my life is?
Oh, I think she just rolled right into this life because, I mean, what else?
What else does she
honestly?
know?
Yeah, I think there's just tons of trauma back there that was just gonna...
And to be clear, I am not defending this woman.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just saying,
not.
like,
it's
wow,
just
this is very
interesting to
sad.
see how she was created.
Right.
She really is. To me, it's hard to find a very clear cut. Like, I feel like that is
Like,
nurtured
totally nature or
almost
nurture.
completely.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't know her. Maybe when she was very, very little, there's more we don't know that she was like innately
Right.
something. But from what I've read and what I've researched, it seems to me like she was created
I agree.
by two like pretty monstrous parents.
Yeah.
But either way, she was into this. So she didn't pull herself into a different direction, which a lot of people will do with trauma.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of people will pull themselves in a better direction, but she did not. So she was like, you know what? Let's do this. And he was like, okay, I want to buy a couple guns. And he was like, but I can't because one time I like stole something. So I have like a charge on me and I can't buy guns. Can
I feel
you
like
buy
there's
them for me?
more to the story.
And
than
she was
that.
like, oh, okay, cool. So
Sure thing, buddy.
Yeah, so she went to the pawn shop and she got 2 Raven 25 caliber semi-automatic pistols.
There it is.
Yep. Well, and they both had like different finishings on them, I guess. Like one was nickel and one was like, I don't know,
Brass.
like silver or something. I don't know. Either way, it's just they were both 2 different guns.
Sure.
She used one and he used one, but oftentimes he would carry both. The longer he stayed with Carol at her apartment, he would like lose interest a lot and would literally like either leave and go live with another woman, or he would just ask Carol to sleep on the cot or the couch in her own apartment so that he could take women back to her home and sleep with them in her bed.
And she would.
And she would. So to keep him interested, that's when she introduced him to Jessica.
No.
And she became part of their lives in a very predatory way. On her 12th birthday, Doug gave Jessica clothes and a music box, and it was clearly not new and had been used. And years later, it was taken into custody for evidence because it likely belonged to victims of his, and he gave it to a 12-year-old.
What the actual fuck?
That's as much as I'm going to go into the Jessica
just-
stuff.
yeah.
It's pretty horrific.
This is
and
already dark enough.
I was going to say, and I just want to move past it. It's not something I want to chat about.
We don't like to go into the kid stuff.
If you want to read more about what happened there, you can read the books. But after the murders of Cynthia Chandler and Gina Morano, Doug actually called Carol at work and told her to watch the news. And she wasn't with him. It was just Doug who killed
Just
them.
him.
And she, now and again, this is also her saying this. Mm-hmm. So there's things we can take with grains of salt, whether she was there or not.
And that's one of them.
And so she said he called, said, go watch the news. And she did. And when she saw the news of the girls' bodies being discovered, he said he had something to tell her when he got home. Mm-hmm. And she was like, okay. Now, I believe this one was just him. And there's a couple others that I believe were just him, but she was involved in some way.
Okay.
So he came home that night and told Carol what had happened. He had blood on his clothes. He was like wide-eyed and crazy, which he was always wide-eyed and crazy. If you look at a picture of this dude,
Those eyes.
those eyes,
That's
like
why
it's
his eyes are so
really
big.
scary.
They're full of secrets.
Yeah, they're full of a lot of secrets. And he said he had picked up 2 girls hitchhiking. He said he paid $30 for oral sex. He said, now he told Carol that he told Gina Morano not to look. And when she turned away, he shot her in the head.
Oh, wow. That's really
And then
fucked
he
up.
shot Chandler in the head. And they weren't dead right away. So he shot Gina again in the head and Cynthia in the heart.
That's so sad.
He said after they were dead, he drove them to a secluded area where he rented a storage garage and he raped both of their bodies, both of their dead bodies from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Oh, my God.
and then dumped them along the highway.
You know what's weird? In this photo, the two of them, like, look alike.
I know.
You know when you're, like, with
They're, like,
somebody
very
so long that
creepy.
you start to look like they're terrifying.
Well, he took her out days later and drove her by the scene where he dumped the bodies and told her if she went to the police, he would kill her too.
Wow.
After this confession, he told Carol that on May 31st, he said, now before Cynthia Chandler and Gina Morano, which they were assuming were the first victims here.
Yeah.
He said, oh no, on May 31st, like before that,
Yeah.
he had picked up a girl he referred to as Foothill. And he named her that because he claimed to have dumped her naked body in a ravine near Foothill Boulevard. He said he didn't know her name. He was like, I'll just call her Foothill. He said he had picked her up on Sunset Boulevard and forced her to perform sexual favors for him and then shot at her 4 times. She fought back, kicking and screaming at him, and she actually broke the gear shift in the car he was driving, which was Carol's Datsun. Datsun was also in the Hillside Strangler case.
Dude. All of these, I mean, obviously, it's
Isn't
like
it?
the same
It's
place,
still
same time.
weird,
but
though. It's like a lot of weird similarities. This is probably why he told her about this one, because she broke the gear shift, and he was like, I should probably tell you why. And he said this pissed him off, so after shooting her, he said he quote unquote gutted her.
Oh.
Yeah. So she's like, wow, that's something. So June 13th, 1980, the LAPD got a call from another woman. And this woman said, I have information about the murders of Gina Morano and Cynthia Chandler. Mm-hmm. We now know this woman was Carol Bundy.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
Yep.
You had this look in your eye.
Yep. She was trying to tell the truth, but failing. She said her name was Betsy, and then the call dropped. She called back and said Betsy was a fake name, but she said, I know the killer. Mm-hmm. And she was terrified. She thought her life was in danger calling, but she said, I have to tell you. She then said she was using a name that could be too closely associated with her. So she said, you know what, now my name is Claudia. And they were like,
sweetie,
okay.
Claudia and Carol are closer than Carol and Betsy.
And she said the killer was someone who lived with her and was an intimate partner. Then she said Claudia could also be associated with her, so that wasn't her name either. And she said, you know, I could be killed for this. But she said her partner had shown back up at home covered in blood, told her he killed Chandler and Morano, and he had raped them after he murdered them. And when pressed, she gave some information that was not available to the public through the media.
Okay.
Because the police officer was like, you got to give me something that's not in the papers or I don't believe you.
Right. Also, you guys like trying to trace this call?
Yeah, like trying to. She mentioned that the shots were at close range and that Cynthia Chandler was not only shot in the head, but also the heart.
And
so
again,
like,
we know.
There it is. She also said that her partner had told her that he had been killing for years and had killed at least 50 people. She had found bloody clothing and towels in his car. She said he was super dangerous, abusive, he was manipulative. And as soon as she says this, the call was disconnected again.
Ooh, that's freaky.
And the police did record this, and they labeled the tape as, quote, either the killer or someone who knows the killer.
Okay.
But they weren't able to do much with it because they have it.
Betsy / Claudia / nevermind.
The killer or someone who knows the killer. So June 23rd, 1980, between 2 to 2:30 a.m., another body was found. This was the body of Karen Jones, who was found lying in the street next to the curb in Burbank. She was fully clothed, lying in a pool of her own blood, mainly around her head. She was a sex worker who had been brought to California from Little Rock, Arkansas, with a group of other sex workers. And the guy they were working under was Derek Albright. Mm-hmm. She was pregnant at the time.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
And yeah, she had turned to sex work because she wanted to make enough money to support her child on her own. She had actually been in college on a scholarship, was very bright, very kind. She stopped college because of the pregnancy, and she had basically been forced into sex work because she didn't think she could do anything else to make enough money for her child alone.
That's so sad.
She was only planning to do it until he was born. The cause of death was a gunshot wound to the head. The shot was approximately 6 to 12 inches from her head, and it was a .25 caliber bullet. Now, they said she died somewhere between 12 and 2 a.m. Now, an officer named Officer Guzetta, he was on the beat on Sunset Boulevard that night, and he had actually ran into Karen Jones around 2:15 a.m., he said. So they had the time of death, like, fucked up. And he told her, you know, don't hang around and loiter in this area or I'm going to arrest you. Like, get out of here. Then someone living around there heard screams outside their house and calls for help. And they said this was between 2:25 and 2:40 a.m.
Oh, wow. So they have this
They
all
had it
fucked
really
up.
wrong. So the same day at 7:15 a.m., a nude and headless body was found in a parking lot of Studio City Sizzler in Burbank.
Okay.
Same day, hours later.
And the same, very close proximity,
Yes.
I'm assuming.
There was so much blood at the crime scene, it was thought that the decapitation had happened there. They also assumed she was still alive when it happened because the amount of blood could have indicated the heart was still beating. So they said she might have been unconscious or dying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This body was not identified at first because there was no clothing, no ID, and no head.
So, oh my God.
So 4 days later, on June 27th at 1 a.m., Jonathan Caravello was walking back to his car from his work shift, and he went into the parking lot and he noticed a wooden box sitting in the spot next to his car. And he was like, it looked cool. It was like ornate. And I was like, what the fuck's in this box? I gotta know.
What's in
and
the
so
box?
like curiosity gets to you.
Oh my God, I shouldn't have said that, because is that what's in the box?
That is what's in the box. He opened the box and he said, at first I thought it was just a bunch of clothing, because there were like denim jeans and a pink t-shirt that read Daddy's Girl on it. When he moved the clothing, he realized it was wrapped over something, and that something was a woman's head.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine finding that?
No.
Like your sheer curiosity at this ornate box, and you open it and that's what's in it.
Because I would have been interested in an ornate
you would have been
box.
like, I need to see what's in here.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he immediately called the police. The head had been frozen and cleaned.
What the fuck?
Yep. Carol had also put a full face of makeup on the decapitated head.
Nope.
Yep.
Hi, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. Are you looking for a beach read this summer? May I suggest your big wireless bill? It's got suspense, mystery, a slightly flat emotional arc, and a shocking twist where you realize you've been overpaying the entire time. Fortunately, though, Mint's story is better. Every plan, $15 a month. Even unlimited. That's it. Happy ending. Zero tears. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
Nope. I have to tap out.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yes. Because remember, he's a necrophiliac.
But why? What is she?
And Ted Bundy used to do that. He used to put makeup on the heads.
I know.
Like, it's fucked.
This is like
So
another
she
level
would
of
do
fucked
it
up,
for
because
him.
she's sitting there holding a
Putting makeup on it. She admitted.
that the head was
Yep.
decapitated while she did that.
Yep. And I'll mention it later, but she says she walked into the kitchen one day and the head was sitting on the kitchen counter.
This is like Ed Kemper, Ted Bundy.
It's like a
Hillside
ton rolled-
Stranglers. I gotta leave now. My Uber's been here for 25 minutes and I'm getting a late charge.
She said she would literally do the makeup and touch up the hair while he was keeping it around. Yep.
Honey, what are you doing?
Yeah. And this body, now that they were able to get the head, was identified as belonging to Exie Wilson. She was 20 years old. Her name was Exie LaFay Wilson, which, like, what a cool name.
I was gonna say, she sounds fucking awesome.
She was from around Little Rock, Arkansas. She actually came with the group.
I was just gonna
so she
ask
knew
that.
Karen Jones.
I wonder if they had been together at that day.
You wonder. No, she was raised by a single mother after her father passed away, and she was really devastated by his passing because she was younger. She fell into sex work and fell in love with a pimp named Derek Albright in Arkansas. After a while, she was tired of getting arrested for, sex work. She just wasn't into it, and the toll it was taking on her health, her psyche. So she told her mother, I'm going to stop. I don't want to do this anymore. And she actually called her mom 4 times the day that Gina and Cynthia were found. And she told them she was leaving Derek and stopping this whole street life. Mm-hmm. During the phone call, Derek actually grabbed the phone and told her mother to leave them alone. He then took Exie and 4 other women, including Karen Jones, to California because he claimed they could make all this money in California, and Arkansas cops were all over their shit, so they had to get out.
This doesn't even sound like these girls were like willing to be working for him.
This sounds like there was some bad shit happening. She had died somewhere between midnight and 2 a.m. according to the autopsy. The head was removed possibly while she was dying or unconscious.
That's the most horrific thing.
Yeah. The cause of death was, they said, if she wasn't decapitated while alive, it would have been gunshot wound to the back of the head. But it was hard to tell because she had been frozen. There was just all these things. There was also a .25 caliber bullet found in her head.
Then I'm going back to the fact that Carol has kids, and I'm like, they must not have been in the house at this point.
I assume they weren't. That's the thing. I could never really find where they were at any given time.
Right.
But they said it must have taken about 15 to 20 cuts to sever her head. He had washed her head, like I said. He had frozen it, applied makeup to it. There was necrophilia happening. They also determined the head had been placed in the box and put in the parking spot only hours before it was found.
Interesting.
Which suggests that the killer had kept the head for several days before dumping it. Now, that evening, Doug had woken Carol up to tell her he killed 2 sex workers that evening. He said he saw them together, but only wanted Exie, and eventually got her in the car alone. He shot her in the back of the head as she performed oral sex on him. That was like his thing.
I was going to say.
He then cut off her head with a buck knife. He then realized Karen Jones saw him pick Exie up, so he went back and found her walking down the street and just shot her dead where she stood,
and
so
she
that
was
she couldn't
the
ID
pregnant
him.
Woman.
Yeah, and she was shot just because she was there and could possibly ID him.
Wow.
Yep. And it was a few days later, like I said, that Carol had seen the head on the kitchen counter, and he said, "Can you put makeup on it?" So she was also the one who bought the wooden box to place it in and helped him wrap it in another victim's clothing to dispose of it.
Oh, and that's so sad because that shirt said Daddy's Girl, and that girl lost her father and was so torn up
Isn't
by
that
it.
like really fucked up? Like
Another layer
Yeah.
of just fucking disgusting terribleness.
he's the worst. Now, they had the same murder weapon now, they know, because the bullets are being recovered from all these victims' heads. And also, Karen Jones was found about 3 miles from Exie Wilson, and they were about 2 miles from where Cynthia Chandler and Gina Morano were found. So it's all in the same area. The media is now going nuts.
Of course.
They were dubbing this the Sunset Slasher, the Sunset Slayer. They were really focusing on the similarities between these killings and the Hillside Stranglers as well, saying that, you know, this killer was killing 2 women at a time in some cases. There were a ton of press conferences where they were keeping a lot of information close, obviously, because it was helping, but they were encouraging people to call in with information. They were offering rewards. And this was interesting to me. This case also now had California's first female detective team on it.
Hell yeah.
Helen Kidder and Peggy York. This team of detectives is said to be part of the inspiration for the Cagney and Lacey television series. Kidder also was the LAPD's first female bomb technician. She was also one of the first females to attend the FBI Academy at Quantico.
Yes, B.
They actually became partners because none of the men wanted to work with them.
I think that's iconic.
That's
that they were
hilarious.
like, cool, fuck all y'all. We're going to go do this together.
We're going to be an
and we're
iconic
gonna
team.
Kill it.
Like, fuck off.
Dynamic duo.
Now, in case you were wondering, Derek Albright was questioned because of his connection to both Karen Jones
for that.
and Exie Wilson. He was let go and never considered a suspect after that.
Just an asshole.
Just an asshole. Now, during this time, Doug Clark was still frequenting bars and the Strip, obviously.
In what time, sir?
I'm saying. And one bartender named Donnie L. Patton, and this was in the trial transcripts I found, recalled that he came in a lot. He came in with Carol, and they were also able to identify through a picture that he came in with Cynthia Chandler.
Wow.
He spoke very openly to this bartender about his like sexual needs and said he got bored when he couldn't be violent and aggressive during sex.
How does that come up while
Just
the
chatting.
bartender's handing you your Budweiser?
Oh, it gets even worse. He also said he loved picking up sex workers because it made him feel superior, because according to him, they were so beneath him.
Oh, they're so beneath you,
Yeah, they're
but you
beneath
need their
you.
services.
And it's like, yeah, there's
Beneath you?
nothing is beneath you, sir.
Yeah.
One night, he excitedly told this bartender that he had found his new sexual high. And he said
This poor bartender.
his new sexual high was that he would have sex with a sex worker, and during the sex, he would slit her throat because the jerking motions of the body as she died were exciting to him. So this bartender was like, nowhere in my brain did I think that anyone would in reality say this or do this.
No.
So they were like, so I thought he was just this like wacko.
Or
that
like,
was just
I thought he was like drunk.
or just telling me these weird fantasies that he had that like he couldn't talk to anyone else. So he was like, they reported it later, obviously.
Yeah, but
they
at
were
that
like,
point,
I
it's
wish
like
I
too
did
late.
it earlier. But they were like, I didn't think anyone would ever do something
No,
like
of
that.
course
That
not.
just didn't feel real
But
to me.
guess what? The world is the most fucked up place.
It sure is. So June 30th, 1980, the body of Marnette Comer, also known as Annette Ann Davis, was discovered off Foothill Boulevard near the highway. Foothill Boulevard. She was down in a ravine under a filthy old mattress. 2 people hiking saw her sticking out from underneath it.
That's so terrible.
This was the foothill that Doug confessed to earlier. Marnette Carey Comer was born in Sacramento, California on May 21st, 1963. She was the second of 5 children. She did have kind of a tough childhood. She ran away a lot. She started sex work when she was 14.
Oh, that's really sad.
She was 17 when she was murdered.
Wow.
So when she was, the evening that she had gone missing, she was actually on the phone with her older sister, Sabra. And she had told her...
Okay, weird.
Oh my God. I didn't even make that connection.
Dude.
You know what's weird? When I wrote that name, I was like, why do I know that name? And it just didn't even... I was doing it late at night.
Weird.
Sabra... Whoa.
Because
I didn't even...
if you're not
Sabra
picking up on it in the Hillside Stranglers.
That's wild. Dude, I did not...
Because that's not like Susie, you know?
No, that's like a way less... Wow.
That's bananas.
Sabra Hannon was like a huge part of the Hillside Stranglers case.
Wow. Wow.
All right.
I love that you didn't even realize that. You're so deep in this that you're like,
that's what it is.
Sabra, and then this happened. And I'm like,
it's so funny though that you said that, because when I was doing it late at night when I wrote this part, I was like, read this part. And when I saw Sabra, I was like, why do I know that name? Like, I was like, that's not a name that you hear a lot. So I was like, Sabra, why do I know that name? That's exactly where it was. I'm so glad you said that. That's wild. So she was on the phone with her older sister, Sabra, not Sabra Hannon. And she had told her, I'm sick of this life. I want to stop. I want to get a degree. I want to take a different path.
Yeah. It's sad that this was like, she wasn't the only one that was done with this life.
That's what kills me.
And it happens a lot.
So much. That last night that she was on the strip, she was wearing a pink t-shirt with the words Daddy's Girl on it. Mm-hmm. She was found nude when they found her on the hike. She had been dead for 20 to 90 days.
Wow.
So she was well before Chandler and Marano. She was the first victim that they know of. Mm. Her remains were actually mummified. She had 3 gunshot wounds to the chest. They were .25 caliber bullets, just like the other victims. And besides the bullet wounds, though, she had also been gutted with a knife.
And he said that. How is she mummified?
Because she had been under a mattress, and I guess like where she was in the ravine, she, like the heat and everything, she had just been mummified.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like where she was and whatever the weather was. But it appeared whoever did this was also trying to like remove organs like Jack the Ripper.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So another press conference was held, and the investigators showed the media the box where Exie Wilson's head was found in it. They did this to get eyes on it, see if someone recognized it, because it was like a little unique. It was like made of pine.
It was intricate, like you said.
It had like brass type latches and designs on it. And because of them doing this, they did get information.
Okay.
The box was made by a Texas company called Chicago Arts. So at least they know that they're able to trace that.
And you said that Carol had bought the box.
She had bought it. Now, they were able to determine that the gun used in all of these murders was a .25 caliber Ravens. Investigators narrowed down that 30 had been sold that year, and 2 of them were sold to Carol Bundy.
That's crazy that only 30 were made that year, or sold that year.
But the police were like, we're not looking for a woman, so it can't be her.
How about the time when a lady fucking called you and said, hey, I know the killer?
How about that?
And I'm like,
yeah, they didn't
my
even
intimate partner.
They didn't even follow up with it. In fact, Doug Clark had actually convinced her to buy those, obviously, because one of the things that he had said to her was he had a fantasy about shooting a girl in the head while having sex with her. Like, he just wanted to kill women during sex. That was like his thing. Now, around this time, Doug told Carol of another sex worker he had killed named Water Tower. That's what he referred to her as.
What a dick.
And he said he was calling her that because he dumped her near a water tower in Hollywood. He had picked her up and shot her in the back of the head as she performed oral sex on him. He said he had raped her post-mortem, then dumped her. And she remains Jane Doe 18 in this case.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. What we find out later is that Carol was sometimes in the car when he did these things.
Yeah, of course she was.
And not a passive bystander who found out after the fact.
No. And I'm sure she was more than just in a fucking car.
Then on August 9th, a male victim turned up.
So I saw that because I was looking at pictures of them, and then their victims' photos popped up, and I was like, what?
He was found murdered in his own van on Barbara Ann Street. He had been found dead. He had been dead for about 5 days when he was found, and he was missing his head. He had several stab wounds to his body, about 9 or 10, and his genital area, and it had been sliced and stabbed as well. Oh. They also found shell casings at the scene. He was identified as 45-year-old Jack Murray.
Oh my God.
Yup.
I have to wonder who sliced that.
And I'm going to end here for part 2.
Okay. You know what? Usually I'm like, no. But today I'm like, you know what?
Let's end this.
Cool.
Let's end this.
Because wowie, kazowie.
Yeah. This is a gnarly one.
Yeah.
Very gnarly.
This is like, I would say like as gnarly as the Hillside Stranglers, just in a totally different way.
Oh, a totally different way. But it is so similar. Like, so, and in weird ways.
It's just like every weird like ways. Every like 10 to 15 minutes I was like, but wait. And then you're like, connects. And if that sounds familiar, and I was like, it does sound familiar.
It's just a wild one, and that's why I had to do it, because it connects so like hand in hand with Hillside Stranglers. And then part 2 we even bring Veronica back into it, so it's like, whoa.
I know, because in like maybe toward like the end of this I was like, oh wait, I have to wait for part 2 to figure out even how Veronica, I think it was when we got to the Sabra, I was like, what about Veronica? And
wait a second,
I don't even know when that's coming.
It's crazy.
Wow,
it truly is.
All right, well, we hope you keep listening,
and we hope you
keep it weird. I just like, not so weird that any of this happens in your life. Like no, none of it. Nope.
Ever walk past a place for rent and wish you could just take a peek inside? Maybe even explore the layout, envision the natural light streaming through the windows, or plan where your vinyl record collection would go. At Apartments.com, you can. With tools like their 3D virtual tours, you can see the exact unit you could be living in. Really envision yourself in your new home with Apartments.com, the place to find a place.
The Colonel's cooked up a new $10 bucket of the day just for you. Monday, 24 nuggets for $10. Tuesday, 8-piece fried chicken for $10. Wednesday, 10 wings for $10. Thursday, 8 tenders for $10. Friday, 24 nuggets for... Ooh, you guessed it, didn't you? $10. The $10 bucket of the day deal. Every weekday, only at KFC. It's finger-licking good.
Prices and participation variable. Supplies last. Not available on third-party ordering platforms. Tax extra.